Hello, good morning. Sorry for the delay. Had a few technical difficulties this morning. Good morning. Hey, Mike. Several familiar names, some newcomers. Hello, welcome. Happy April 5th. I'm Amanda Weaver. I'm going to spend a few minutes with you all today to talk about the importance of practicing our interviewing skill set. Um, And I thought where I'd start. Recently, a wise individual reminded me that there is no perfect interview. And you know what? He was totally right. And I can share with you that that is actually not the first time I've heard someone say that, but it actually had been some time since I was reminded of that. And it really got me thinking, the concept of practicing our interviewing skill set allows us to make progress and become more effective in our role and responsibilities here. When we use practical application allows for that hands-on learning and really a deeper understanding through personal experience. The balance between theory and practice is really critical, just because it's a comprehensive, or it allows us to have a comprehensive understanding, I should say, in successful application of our knowledge. Now, regardless of the context of the engagement, as someone who's conducting an inquiry, we're going to have a lot of goals. But one of those goals really comes down to the concept of increasing engagement in the interaction. When I'm able to increase that engagement, it sounds silly. When I'm increasing engagement, I'm decreasing disengagement. So I want to ensure I am able to create an atmosphere where that's happening. And I can share with you, recently I was reading an article put out by SHRM, and the article was really centered on, or I should say, the article was about a survey they had recently conducted amongst several HR business partners, and they were really surveying what top skills candidates or interviewees for a job should have. And what they learned in this particular survey, one of the hiring managers or interviewers are looking at primarily interviewees' overall performance in the interview. The next critical skill set they identified is the interviewee's ability to speak to relevant work experience. And again, that really just got me thinking, as an interviewer, am I creating an overall atmosphere to allow for all that to happen? How am I going to do that? It's through practice. Practice is going to enhance our skill development. With practice, you're going to be able to refine your approach and improve your technical and qualitative proficiency. Now, when I mention technical, it's really about the questions that we're asking. For example, are we using open-ended questions versus closed-ended questions? What is that looking like? The qualitative perspective is our actively listen or our active listening. Are we presenting ourselves as non-biased and with an adaptive attitude? Repetition. So when we get out there and practice, repetition is going to help your brain and your body learn how to perform the task more effectively and more efficiently. So what I'm saying, you got to get out there and do it. You got to get out there and have those conversations. Now, I recently had an opportunity to interact with a veteran in the LP industry, and we were talking about interviewing, and he was sharing with me, or he had made the comment, Amanda, I don't know if I could do an interview today. I haven't done one in a very long time. Practice is going to help you, number one, boost confidence building, if you will. As you practice and see improvement over time, your confidence in your abilities is going to start to grow. And this confidence is really going to motivate you to continue practicing and striving for further progress. It's also going to allow you to manage through difficult conversations while upholding the principles of rapport. And I can tell you something. I'll share a little secret with you. In certain situations, I don't love people when they become emotional or start to cry. That's something I'm still working on. It's not my favorite, if you will. And so with practice and everyday conversation, that's allowing me to apply what I've learned in the classroom setting and really refine my approach, my tailored or customized approach to managing those difficult conversations. Now, denials, they are one form of resistance, and certainly denials can be challenging. And, we're never going to ever be able to overcome denials overall, right? But there's ways we can go about managing that sort of resistance. Practicing those challenging conversation or that challenging conversation skill set again in everyday conversation is going to help again boost your confidence as you manage those challenging or difficult discussions. But it's also going to help you level set there. I also think about empathy. In many of our conversations, we're going to find a need to show some understanding for the challenges that people are facing, being it the subject or respondent of an allegation, or even a victim or witness that we're speaking with. Empathy is the backbone to the WZ method, for example, and sometimes delivering empathy can be challenging. So practice those empathy statements, practice those empathy sentences, practice when you should be delivering them in everyday conversation. Now, one piece of empathy I'm often asked about is how do I practice delivering a structured, stated story, moral linked empathy statement? And one of the tools or the techniques I found to be most effective is take an article in the media, be it however you receive your news, maybe something on social media, maybe even it could be something you see in your everyday interaction. If you were to get involved in the situation and speak to the subject of that incident, if you will, how can you go about effectively showing understanding where it's really connecting and showing, again, understanding versus sympathy or judgment in the process? I also thinking about when a great way to practice is by planning white space. So using your calendar, when can I insert some time to say, listen, this is the few minutes I have, and this is going to be my opportunity to dedicate time to practicing my interviewing skill set. If you've ever been a road warrior, if any of you are road warriors today, I know I've in my past found myself while I'm driving down the highway on a several hour long drive, talking to myself out loud, going through an interview. That's a great way to go about that as well. Now, I can also share with you that evaluation is an integral part of the interview, just as much as any phase of the conversation. To improve your interviewing skills, you're going to need to learn from experience, hence that repetition. And like I said, just getting out there and having those conversations. This is also going to include, as I'm sharing with you, evaluating your own performance throughout each and every conversation that you're having. And I want you to take a step back and think to yourself, what did you do well? What could you have done better? What areas do you feel you need to further develop? And how are you going to go about acquiring those particular skills? Through practice, you're going to receive feedback on your performance, which is going to allow you to identify areas for further improvement and give you the opportunity to adjust your approach, if you will, accordingly. Training should also include some sort of feedback loop that regularly offers interviewers some sort of evaluation. So with that reflection, establish where your interviewing can be improved, whether on your own, by yourself, or with a supervisor, a colleague, a trusted colleague, if necessary. Evaluate your performance and set appropriate goals and objectives to overall improve. The more interviews you conduct, the more proficient you should become. So what I can leave you off with is, you've got this, just practice. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy. I wish you a great start to the beginning of your work week next week. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next month, first Friday of the month for Instructor Insights. Thanks.